The following is a production of Frank DeFreitas and the Internet Museum of Holography.
Hello everyone, this is Frank DeFreitas and welcome to another week of HoloTalk. Now on our second show of this season, the 98-99 season. Our guest this week is Bill Freed, and Bill is a virtual partner with the Iacocca Institute and also the owner and director of Freelance Consulting. And we're going to be talking with Bill on a topic that many of us should be concerned about, and that topic is students who are not choosing to go into fields of science and technology. And Bill's going to come on and try and give us a little bit of insight into the reasons why students are not choosing the fields of science and technology as careers a little bit later in the show. First, I have a little bit of news here. I got an email from Derek Gallen, who is with the Royal Holographic Art Gallery. And Derek has available film, which is very similar now to AGFA's materials. It says here, some time ago when introducing our first Red Star holographic film, we expressed our hopes to introduce soon a new film that would be closer to AGFA standards. And they go on to say, it is with extreme pleasure that we can now inform you that this film is already available now. We thank you for your patience, and we are sure that you will find this new generation of film much improved and to your full satisfaction. Unlike our standard Red Star film, this one can be developed with formulas normally used for AGFA, and the exposure times are better than HoloTest. So the film's named Red Star Ultra. Here's a few tech specs. Resolution over 3,000 lines per millimeter, light sensitivity 80 to 100 microjoules. Diffraction effectiveness over 40% can be achieved. Emulsion thickness 7 microns, and the acetate base thickness is 140 microns. Red Star Ultra R's for red sensitive, which would be helium neon and also pulsed ruby. Sensitivity range 600 to 80 nanometers makes it the perfect choice for helium neon lasers, and with just slightly stronger exposure, it works fine with pulsed ruby. This film can be used for both reflection and transmission holograms, and chemicals used for AGFA HoloTest 8075 work fine on this material. There's also a Red Star Ultra G, which is green sensitive as well. Sensitivity range of 488 to 532 nanometers. Perfect choice for argon and pulse YAG, of course, for reflection and transmission holograms, and the same chemicals that are used for AGFA HoloTest 8056. This film is available for ordering now. And here's a couple prices in U.S. dollars for 4x5 film sheets, 50 pieces for $92. 8x10 film sheets, 50 pieces for $310. And 14-inch by 34-foot rolls, a single roll is $495. And these prices are effective August 98. Initial sizes and prices. They will do custom orders as well. And if you want more information, you can visit Royal Holographic Art Gallery. Here is the web address, http://www.holograms.bc.ca. Or if you go to any search engine, I'm sure if you type in Royal Holographic Art Gallery, Derek's site will come up. And if you're an amateur, hobbyist, or even professional holographer, you may want to look into this film. I know I'm going to look into it because for so many years I got so used to using AGFA, and I just couldn't get the hang of using anything else when AGFA closed its manufacturing facilities. And I'm very happy to hear that the same chemistry can be used as well, because I pretty much had that down pat as far as exposure times, chemical processing, temperature, and so on and so forth. So that's the news for this week. It's good news for anybody who's doing holography. Check out that film. They also have plates available as well, which I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but I will mention it now just in case I didn't. Our guest this week, Bill Freed, is going to speak with us about why students are not choosing science and technology careers, and this is something that's going to give us a problem sometime in the future. So what I will do is I will say my goodbyes now. If you're tuned in, thank you very much for tuning in. Remember, HoloTalk comes your way every week with a new topic and guests, mostly centering around the field of lasers and holography. But we also go off on little directions here and there, sometimes on little fringe type of programs as well, but all centered around science and technology topics. So thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to turn the show over to the interview with Bill Freed that we did earlier in the week. Bill is calling in from Waco, Texas, and I will not come back on after the interview is over, so I will say goodbye to you now. And once again, thank you for tuning in to HoloTalk, and look forward to providing a great season of shows for you. This is the second show of this season. We've got a lot to go before we get back to our summer reruns again in 1999. This is Frank DeFreitas. Take care, and thanks for tuning in.
Hello, this is Frank DeFreitas, and we've got Bill Freed on the line, who's in Waco, Texas right now, and Bill is a virtual partner of the Iacocca Institute and director of Freelance Consulting. And Bill, if you could tell us what Freelance Consulting takes care of.
Well, hi, Frank, and I'd be happy to. Freelance is about ideas, innovation, and application in career and workforce development systems building. And we work to try to help our clients in their efforts to design systems for the careers and workforce of the future.
Mm-hmm. Are there more or less students going into careers in science and technology than there were, say, 10, 20, even 30 years ago?
Well, Frank, overall, these figures are being reported, is much lower than in the past. And certain groups like the Information Technology Association of America and the U.S. Department of Commerce predict major shortages, actually, in students pursuing careers in science and technology. And in a recent report of theirs entitled America's New Deficit, the Shortage of Information Technology Jobs, it was reported that approximately 300,000 information technology jobs will go unfilled in the next few years. And by the turn of the century, nearly 1 million vacancies will be open. And while many people argue these numbers, us in the field of workforce development and career development can't help but see the active efforts of such companies as Microsoft and others to address this shortage and make very visible efforts to attract more youth to IT careers.
Information technologies.
Yes, specifically in information technology. And a good example is they recently released a video starring Jimmy Schmitz. You might recognize that name from NYPD Blue.
Yeah.
And the idea of the video was to make people aware of all of the great opportunities in technology and information technology careers and get it out to the schools.
We're surrounded with technology everywhere we go, whether we're in our car traveling or we're sitting at home surfing the web, or even television with digital delivery with satellite dishes that we're getting our TV programming and fiber optic delivery of information. Well, why now, of all times, when we're entering an age when we have a burst of technology that just surrounds us in the home and surrounds us in the workplace, why now are kids not going into this?
Well, that's a good question, and there's been a lot of work done to go in and conduct focus groups with schools, talk to educators, talk to parents, and specifically look into why kids are not pursuing these high-demand jobs. As you said, a good example is we all drive cars. Whether you work on those cars, you sell those cars, you service those cars, even at the gas station, you're dealing with technology. You use the automatic gas cards now to pay for your gas, right through the gas pump, almost a Mac machine of sorts. And some of these efforts to find out why or what factors contribute to this deficit, one of them was a typical image of kids stereotyping persons that work in technology as in a negative image, as white, balding, middle-aged man with a pocket protector, a computer geek, basically. And there were...
This image doesn't appeal to kids.
It's just, and that's unfortunate. And, that's something that the education system needs to address, parents need to address, and it all has to do with the preparation and the system that we have, good or bad, needs to address what careers are hot, basically, and get people very interested in them. And basically, what's happening now is a lot of companies are investing in ways to market those occupations, because if they don't have the workers of the future, they're not going to be able to function.
And of course, that stereotypical image that we get from Hollywood thrown at us all the time of your typical science or technology geek, there's nothing that could be further from the truth, right?
That's right, without a doubt. I mean, those are some of the most exciting careers. Anybody that you deal with that works out in the Silicon Valley, they absolutely love their job. It's dynamic. You're on the cutting edge. You're experimenting, as you said. We're on the frontier of so many things in technology that no matter what your skills, interests, aptitudes, or talents are, in information technology jobs, you would have plenty of opportunities to exercise those skills, pursue interests. You work with a lot of people. It just draws on a lot of talents and skills and abilities.
When do you think we will feel the effect? I imagine this is going to have some sort of an effect on us, the fact that there's not going to be enough workers to fill the positions. But there's probably people who are listening to this show right now who have been left go because of companies downsizing and eliminating some positions, who would find it really hard to believe that we're going to have a surplus of jobs in the near future. When do you think all this is going to have an effect on us? Is it 2 years down the road, 5, 10, 20?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you, Frank, right now, the United States is the world leader in a lot of the technology applications, software, hardware, and there is continuing concern that our competitive advantage in this country will be lost because we are not building the system and the supply chain of workers for these jobs in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And at present, many industries report, not just in information technology, but in many science careers, advanced manufacturing, that are using new applications in traditional jobs that, unfortunately, are all pretty much stereotyped as, one negative type of a stereotype or another, where people think that, like in manufacturing, it's a dirty job, where it's noisy and whatnot. And
they get the Industrial Revolution view of the sweatshop.
Correct.
Yeah, which really isn't true anymore. I mean,
no, not at all. I mean, I'm in manufacturing plants all the time, and
it's all computer-driven.
It's completely computer-driven. In the semiconductor industry, there's a huge shortage, and the companies have invested tremendous resources to prepare people for these jobs in the future. And an example is information technology. They're saying that shortly in the new century, the amount of openings and the skills deficits of current workers that might want to even apply for those jobs are going to be critical. There will be over 1 million jobs unfilled in information technology.
I would imagine someone who would go into manufacturing today would be more than likely to walk into a clean room environment than they would a shop floor. Is that true?
Oh, I would think so, yes. I mean, there are still some traditional manufacturing shops, but now with the use of robotics, with the use of the automation, many of the jobs now require, not so much just the mechanical aptitude of the past, where you might be, moving a widget from here to there or attaching something to it. You're more of a systems player, looking at how the whole process, the whole line flows, monitoring equipment, doing quality assurance, dealing with customers. That's something that we hear more often now in the workforce development field, is that production workers in manufacturing plants, when they're working with customers, the customers want to see the products being made. They want to talk to the workers. They want to, get a feel for who it is that they're buying from.
Yeah.
And more than ever, they need to draw on all these diverse talents in almost all manufacturing settings. And that data is consistent. A lot of what's being done now is using really technology tools to better connect job seekers with employers that are hiring.
Mm-hmm.
And the skill sets that are being required are just getting more advanced, drawing on more personal, interpersonal, resource, information types of skills, so that we're not, going into a job anymore and checking our brains at the door and just working, in a repeat process, just doing the same thing over and over. Now you have to understand how your role fits into the bigger picture, and affect the product going down the line, how that's going to affect the customer at the end, affect profits back to the company, and affect, your future, basically. So, the jobs are becoming more demanding. Employers are looking for people with those types of skill sets that can see the whole picture, that can help them make profit, so that they can, in turn, share that profit in an ideal sense.
Well, it's obvious that we need to roll up our sleeves and do something about this, but let me just hit you with like a two-part question. Number one, who needs to do something about it that will allow more students to have an interest in this, and what is it that these people need to do?
Well, that's a good question. Who needs to do something about it? Everybody, parents especially. Really, career development starts at home. And if you hear all the time, there ought to be a basic parenting class before somebody's allowed to have a child.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
more than one person has suggested that.
Not you personally, though, of course, right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
But there's a lot parents can do themselves to make their kids aware of, what are their aptitudes, and help them develop interests and explore different things. Get them to start thinking, at an early age, and to experience different things, and to, see how that they can apply knowledge and solve problems. So career development is just that. It's a developmental process that starts from birth, when you figure out your interests, what your likes and dislikes are. Parents can really help to promote that.
It's probably something that parents wouldn't even think about until the child's probably either in late middle school or early high school, but actually the process should begin a lot earlier than that.
Yeah, I mean, how often do you hear a kid that's 14 and the first time they're being asked what are they going to do is, when they're in high school, and they have to make a choice between an academic track or a general track or, some type of a vocational track in school. And there's just more options than that, and they need to be thinking about that earlier. So, you're seeing an increase now in efforts to get to kids and to help expose them. A lot of work is going on in something called School to Work. And School to Work is an effort that tries to get people from the world of work into the schools and get the schools into the world of work and expose kids at an early age to careers. And I was at a conference probably about 5 years ago, and there was a small school in West Virginia, and the kids put on a play, and each kid played a different role, like he was a lawyer, he was a doctor, and it was really centered around having the kids understand and apply things that they thought about from those professions. Even those simple types of things, at least get kids to start to understand what all these jobs are out there. And I have a question for you, Frank. Can you tell me how many different occupations there are?
More than one.
More than one. Very, very safe. Well, there's a question, and during summer programs, we used to ask high school kids that question. And vocational maturity is a concept where you or I, depending on our age level, are exhibiting appropriate vocational behavior. And usually you're looking for the answer to be somewhere around 20 to 50,000. There are actually 36,000 different occupations, and every day more are being added because technology is changing so fast.
Over 36,000.
Over 36,000
occupations are available. And
kids again, that number increases every day. And a good quote I heard was the former Secretary of Labor at a workshop said that by the time youth enter ninth grade, they're preparing for jobs that haven't even been invented yet.
Yeah.
So by the time they get out of school, the entire skill set is going to be upgraded. There's going to be a whole new set of occupations available to them, and you see it every day. So it makes the job of professionals, of teachers, of parents, all that more daunting to help kids understand.
What resources are there? I imagine the web must be filled with career information.
Yeah, the web has a lot of good information, and there are a lot of excellent sites on. Anybody could go to www.usdoleta, which is the U.S. Department of Labor Employment and Training Administration site.
Yes.
America's Job Bank is there, America's Talent Bank, where anybody can post a resume there, and any employer in the country or actually in the world could do a keyword search and see if people are out there that meet a skill set that they need. There are all kinds of sites out there now you can go into to assess your aptitudes, your interests, and really help you make decisions. And the guidance counselors at schools and teachers, they're excellent resources.
Mm-hmm.
And a big effort now in the United States, in this country, is something called One Stop. And in the past, a lot of these types of services were only available to certain target populations, but legislation has just been passed, the Workforce Investment Act of 1998, that's basically going to swing these doors open to the entire community. So anybody can come in and access the latest and greatest in computer-assisted job search tools, computer-assisted aptitude tools, career resource libraries, and really talk to knowledgeable people who know what's hot and what's not in specific regions.
Mm-hmm.
Those are a few efforts, and people can be creative and just pick up the phone and call a company where they'd like to work and say, I would like to come in and find out what you do. I'm doing some career exploration, and I would bet 9 times out of 10, people are willing to see people that are interested in their career field.
I bet that's something that a lot of people would never consider, picking up the phone and doing that.
Yeah, that's a great, simple tool, and it doesn't cost anything. And employers, they could help out by, taking those calls and helping kids or even adults that are going through retraining find out a little more. And then community colleges are an excellent resource as well, where people can find out about a whole series of careers. So there are a lot of resources out there, universities, colleges, high schools, parents, businesses themselves, public resources, the library. Most libraries now have a whole subsection just on careers.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just some off the top of my head tips. But it boils down to a 3-part process, Frank, and that's what we always try to help in building systems for regions or building systems for big national programs. Is there's 3 parts to it. There's yourself and knowing yourself, knowing the market, which is the labor market, and making the match. And in a nutshell, there's a lot of processes in each of those that can tap into technology in using, management by fact that will help people find out what are the occupations of the future, such as those that utilize science and technology.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me that the big challenge is to at least make this career choice something that kids would be really excited to make. Mm-hmm. I'd really like to do that, and that seems to be where the stumbling block is right now, because most people just think that it's some geek job that wouldn't be cool to go into, when actually there couldn't be anything further from the truth.
You've got that right.
All right, Bill, thank you very much for being on HoloTalk, and I'll give some information about your website towards the closing of the program and put a link on the page, so if anyone wants additional information or would like to contact you for additional information, they just need to click on that link and it'll take them right to your website.
Okay, Frank.
Okay, Bill?
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, bye now.